ScouterStan. There is a lot of similarities between a district and your own unit's committee. There's a lot of similarities there, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. There's tons of information about the district. The whole subject today came up. Rick, as you see here, Rick actually asked the question. He's thinking about going into some district stuff and doesn't know where or what any of it is about. And we're just going to go over some of that structure. But it's amazing how similar it is. Now, the district committee chairman is in charge of most of the activities within the committee. But all too often, that is also supported through the paid staff, through an executive. So you have a district executive that's also involved. And then you have your district commissioner, who has the commissioner corps that is actually doing unit service. So that's the key three when you're looking at a district. Now, districts are smaller parts of a council, just like the state versus a county. You know, it has different pieces. The council will have many different districts. They might have as little as 2. There's some that have 30. So a variety of different district sizes, different locations, different populations. So it's really determined by council what a district is and what it services. Now, there are 4 groups. That's the best way to think of it. There are 4 groups of activities that a committee in the district level is concerned with. The 4 groups are membership, fund development, program, and of course unit service. Now, membership has many different facets, but its primary goal is to make sure that new members go into existing units, and new units are created to facilitate the need for members to join. That's the wonderful thing about membership. It has many different facets. Now, fund development, this is something that the district takes on to help out the council. The council will have fundraisers that they will have for the units to participate in. Fundraising can also be for the actual council. Keep in mind, we're a nonprofit organization of volunteers, and there is expenses, and that's one of the things that is important to keep in mind. Program. That's really where, as they used to say, the rubber hits the road. It is all of the camping, it's all of the facilities, it's all of the training, it's all of those things that are involved in that. We're going to talk about individual departments also. Now, finally, it is the unit services. The function there is through commissioners, and that is a huge thing. And of the 4 big departments, there are many different departments within it, and every district is different. Some districts don't have certain things. Some districts don't need certain things. This is all up to the district. But of those 4 core things, there are many of the things that go on. You'll always have commissioners. You'll always have program. You'll always have membership. You'll always have funding. These are things those are the core elements. Now, let's talk a little bit about the different departments within the district. The district has these 4 basic groups. Now, there's different things in those groups. Now, we talked about membership. Membership has different groups also. So one of the big ones is advancement. Now, a lot of people will say that's program, but it's actually listed as being part of membership. Advancement is a huge thing when you're dealing with youth. So there's usually an advancement chair for your district that handles all the Eagle stuff and handles all the awards and does all those things. That is a critical position for your district. And being that way, it is part of membership, making sure your membership is recognized for their achievements. That's the real key thing about advancement. Now, the recruitment share is another part of membership. The recruitment share is like the one that does the school nights, it does the schoolroom visits, you name it. There's a lot to be done with recruitment, and it should be done year-round. That is, if it's done right, it should be done all the time. And units need to be into that. That's a critical thing. Recruiting all year round is a major. In fact, I have a video. Go ahead and look at that later on. It'll be there all the way through to the end. And look at that video. It'll tell you a little bit about recruitment. Now, the next big one is program. Program has several divisions. Camping is huge. It is a major part, going out and using the facilities of your council. Camping needs to be promoting that. And in that regard, there also is the Order of the Arrow that falls within the camping parameters. That is an actual position. The chapter chief and the chapter advisor for your district is actually members of the district committee. Now, with that, you also have communications, and that could be anything from maintaining a mailing list for an email that goes out. It could be different things going on as far as emails that could be sent out individually. There are a lot of social media stuff. A lot of districts have Facebook pages and Instagram and all the, you name it, okay? There's stuff out there that districts are using, and that all has to do with communications. Now, another big department of this is, of course, training. Training is a huge thing about program. We need to make sure that every scout deserves a trained leader. That is a saying that you'll hear a lot in scouting. That is one of those things that we need to make sure is done. Now, training can be different things. It can be specific to what you are doing for that position, or it could be things like youth protection training, or hazardous weather, or climb on safety, or swim, and you name it. There's a lot of different training that goes on, and we need to make sure that in program that is done correctly, and of course kept up to date. That's really important. Now, in fund development, that has a lot to do with the finances. That could be something that comes from council. There could be fundraisers, and we're talking thousands of dollars that are actually fronted for the benefit of the youth, to sell popcorn or do camp cards or different things that are out there that a lot of different councils do. The council relies on the district to have some type of management to kind of coalesce all the training and to make sure that everything's kept consistent. That's very important as far as fundraising. That is very important. We're all volunteers. None of us are paid. We don't make a thing. And the thing is that we need to make sure that the lights stay on at the scout office, and those come through donations and through fundraising. And making sure that that's managed well is important. Now, another big department of that is what we call Friends of Scouting, or FOS. And a lot of different councils do it differently. So some councils do presentations with units. Some they just use the funding through their membership fees. You know, there's a lot of ways to do that. But a district might be called upon to actually have somebody do that, whether it be phone solicitation to people that have already donated to scouting, to kind of keep the funding going. This is a huge thing for scouting, to make sure that we stay nonprofit and we make sure that we move forward with our scout movement. Finally, the fourth big one is, of course, unit service. And we talked briefly about unit commissioners and how they help units grow and they help with issues. They help with solving problems. That is huge for unit commissioners. And they get to enjoy all the nice things that come back, seeing the youth succeed. They get to go to these boards of review. They get to go to different things for the unit. That is so big. Courts of honor and stuff like that. It's huge. It does the soul good to do some unit commissioner work. Working with the best leaders and solving problems is very rewarding. All to itself, and then of course you get to see all the results from the success of the unit. That is just, it's phenomenal. Okay, so unit service is very important. And then of course you have roundtable. Roundtable commissioners are huge. That's another big thing about service to the units. Unit service is a critical part, and most of that is commissioners, and that's why you have a district commissioner that handles a lot of that department. So there's a lot of things you can get involved in the district. Now keep this in mind. This is just some ideas, some structures. Every place is going to be different. They're going to model it according to what they need. They're going to have different departments, different chair people that are going to do things, and the chairman's going to be there and helping out. And there's so many different facets to this. But like I said earlier, unit commissioners are so needed and so important. That is critical to start doing that. That's the thing I recommend for a district. You'll find a niche that you fit in perfectly. So that's the nice thing about unit commissioners. They get to go to the committee meetings. And anyone can go to the committee meetings, by the way. Committee meetings are open to the entire district. So if you're in that district, you can go to it. So you may not have a vote, you may not have a say, but you can see what's going on, and you might be able to help out. So that's an option. Definitely check that out. And the structure of it is different. It depends on where you are. But the core values, the key three, and those three big functions, the big four functions that are in it, the key three and the four functions, those are pretty consistent. But all the different departments, that can be as needed. And as you know, scouting is highly organized chaos, and we try to minimize it as much as possible. But that's the neat thing. And a lot of districts, they don't have a lot of chaos. It's successful. It works. That's the beautiful thing. And keeping all of that in mind, get involved. You are a huge benefit to scouting. We need you. We need you. Let's talk a little bit more about advancement. Now, we did a video 3 years ago about advancement teams. This is something that has changed over time. Now, I'm gonna actually put the link up there. So if you haven't seen that one already, you can check that one out too. But this one is self-contained, so we're kind of doing some of the updates. That's really what this video is about. The advancement team is a critical part of the unit committee. They're there to make sure that all of the advancements are correctly inputted into whatever you're using. And that has changed too, and we'll get into that also. But this is a critical position that needs to be a team effort. For every 25 scouts that are in a unit, you need at least one advancement team member. Of course, there's a chair that kind of runs all that and makes sure that the reporting back to the committee and the committee chair and so on. So that's very important for all units. Now, this position is a backstage position. It's really, most of the time, that's kind of behind the scenes. There are times when they are interacting scout facing. So they do need to go through that process Of course, all adults do, but they make sure that they're all background checked and make sure that they have the youth protection training and all of that stuff as a leader, a registered leader of the unit. Now, because it's a backstage position, think of it this way. If the Scoutmaster is continuously barraged with parents, or the Cub Master is continuously having parents asking about advancement, they need to delegate those answers to the advancement team. Those are the people that need to be involved in that. They just have so much on their plate that they need that backup through the committee, through that advancement team to handle those questions. Now, the advancement team also is responsible to set up the boards of review in a scout troop. A lot of times as they progress to Eagle, they have these boards of review for every rank. This is a great opportunity for the committee to know about what's going on, and the advancement team makes the arrangements to who is going to be on that board of review. Now, if you want more information about boards of review, I have a video and it's right up there. So definitely check that one out. It talks a lot about how that is organized. Now, usually the unit's advancement person is on the committee for or the board rather, that actually goes through the process of approval. So that is very important that they are aware of that, that they organize that, and they are a part of it. It's very important. Now, that is especially true when it comes to Eagle. The Eagle boards of review, of course you need the candidate, that's a given. You need 3 people, and one of them has to be with the district or council. So that is really important. So you definitely need to know what goes on in that process. Now, most of the district advancement people will help you as far as what's going on. You just send them an email or a text or a phone call or something, and then they will fill you in on how that process all works. Don't get overwhelmed. It is far too easy to just think, oh, there's so many moving parts, I'll never get ahead of it. It's not rocket science. We're not blowing anything up, okay? So it is very procedural, okay? Go through the process of actually going through all of that advancement. Don't get overwhelmed. Now, over the years, there has been software developed to help manage a lot of the unit's general advancement needs, reports and different things that they need to keep track of. Now, it is the responsibility for the unit to make sure that all of the advancement is reported. It is the unit's responsibility. Now, in the past, a lot of units would fill out an actual advancement report, a physical piece of paper, and be required to take that in when purchasing all of the different awards to make sure that it has been reported. That was really the cycle there. Now it's a little bit different. In most areas, they don't require that physical piece of paper. They just need to look at your Scout book or whatever software you're using to make sure that the data has been reported. Now, Scout book is software, internet software, cloud software, that's physically owned by the Boy Scouts of America, by the BSA. They actually own that. They run that and they operate with that. They have their own servers. They have all of the infrastructure there to support that. A good portion of your membership fees is actually paying for that. So if you have other software, that's great, but you're paying 2 times for 2 separate softwares. And here's the kicker. A lot of people don't know it, but whatever software, whatever third-party software you're using, it's reporting in through Scoutbook. So that integration needs to be set up, and it can be very advanced, and sometimes it has hiccups. And that's true on both sides. So you have to have that software set up so that it will transfer in, so that all of your advancement gets into the system. Now here's something that's recent. They have stopped taking the physical advancement form in many councils. They just don't have the people there to type that data in for the unit. They require the unit to do it electronically. They just don't have the infrastructure. This is a non-profit organization, and we don't have a whole lot of people, professionals who get paid, doing that stuff that the volunteers are there. They know what's going on, and they could easily type that information in. That is going on where this form, the old form, is no longer being accepted. Now there are some exclusions from that. Some awards, like the Eagle Scout Award, that is something that they need to retain signatures on, and that is a physical form. They have an application and a physical advancement form. That's all part of the packet that's involved with an Eagle Scout. And while we're on that subject, it's very important that advancement and youth and the adult leaders all understand there's the date that something is earned, not the date that it was awarded. So if you have, if little Billy has earned something on July 10th, but isn't presented until August 10th, that's not the date. You want the July 10th date, okay, when he or she earned it. That's the important part. You have to put those dates down, and those have to match, though, between all of the reporting and everything. You can't really fudge any of those numbers. You got to make sure they're correct. The date is very important, and it's the date that the item is earned, not when it's presented. Now there are many different softwares out there for advancement, and one of the questions, Corey actually had a question about LodgeMaster. Now, if you may not be familiar with LodgeMaster. LodgeMaster is software that tracks a lot of the stuff for the Order of the Arrow. And LodgeMaster is used for emailing. It's used to create reports. It is a very vital tool for many chapters and many lodges to use. And that goes into the national database. So it is one of those database things that is driven, and it's not necessarily third party. It is actually something that is sanctioned through the Boy Scouts and Scouts BSA and all of that. It actually has that approval and is encouraged to be used by all lodges. It is great software. Now, login access to LodgeMaster, which is web-based. It's cloud-based computing, and it's all out there. But in order to get access to that, you have to go through the lodge. Typically, each chapter, the chapter advisor, which is an adult position, will give passwords to the chapter chief. So that chapter can have access to their own information so that they know if they need to call people or they need to email people. That's all done through this system. That database is wonderful. Now, I've actually heard some people say that LodgeMaster is going to integrate into Scoutbook. It's more likely to be the other way. Okay, the scout book is going to give information and feed that information of arrowmen that have achieved things. That information might be sent over to Lodge Master instead of Lodge Master sending it into Scout Book. It's a different type of system. It's a database, and that, of course, in the end of things, it's all databases. That's true with everything. It's all that interactive, the front end part of it that we see, and that's the incredible part about computing is that database can be moved around, and you can use it for different things that can really help out as far as advancement. Now, Corey, to answer your question, is that you have to contact your chapter or your lodge for your position with those things that you need access to this. It's not generally given out. A lot of that information is very proprietary. You want to make sure that it's not taken advantage of by bad people. That could be a serious problem. So you have to keep a tight rein on access to that. Now, if you're thinking about going from a third-party software into Scoutbook more, you know that you could try it out. There's a demo. You can actually go. In fact, I will put the link down below. So if you'd like to, in the show description, hit more, and it will come up with a list, and on there is actually a link to the demo, and you can actually sign into the demo and try out Scoutbook. And this is something that a lot of advancement people just don't know. They're used to a third-party software, and they don't know how easy or what they're going to need to do to get everything moved over into Scoutbook. So this is something that you can do to try that out. Now, please, it is a demo, okay? So it might mess up, it might not work right. So it is a demo thing. Once it's on the system with your data, if it messes up, you can correct it, you can fix it. That's one of those nice things about having something like this. It is something you can do. And if you're with the Order of the Arrow and you have a position like chapter chief or something of that nature, definitely check out the National Order of the Arrow Lodge Master page. And that also is in the description. All the videos that I referred to is actually in the description. So if you missed one, it's down there. There's also up there too. So it stays up there the whole time. But these are things that you can do as an advancement. It is critical that we support our scouts, Cub Scouts in a pack, and scouts in a troop. We need to support their advancement. We don't want to lose any of that stuff. So in that regard, make sure there's a physical blue card. There's a physical form, that there's physical things there so that that data doesn't get lost. It's a great backup. Sometimes, electrical storms and all kinds of problems with internet or what have you. It would be great to have those physical things there and make sure that they're copied and there's more than one copy of it so that it doesn't get lost. So important. We want to make sure that our scouts are happy, and we do so much work for them. And the advancement team, that is a big job, but it's not an impossible job. Anybody can get involved in that, and it is so important that we all pitch in. The adult leaders that are already in the unit, they're going to help, okay? Ask for help. If you're not sure of something, ask for help. This is critical. Remember, a scout is friendly, and the scout law and the scout oath apply to all the adults. Yes, that does. So they're going to be courteous and kind and take their time and make sure that they are helping you. It is critical because what is it, the second promise that's in our sign? To help others. That includes you. So if you're lost, don't know what to do, ask somebody. There's somebody in your unit that can help you. So definitely keep working towards the goal of helping America's youth. We're on a mission to change the world, and it's going to be great. Let's talk about that transition. Could you imagine if you were in a business where you were asked to mentor and train somebody for 5 or 6 years how to become an incredible leader, and then on their 18th anniversary they quit? That would be bad. And that's kind of what we're getting in scouting. A lot of scouts leave after they turn 18. Their schools and all the other stuff that they might be into become the priority. After 18, they're no longer a youth, and they can easily be transitioned from that youth status of leadership into the adult leadership. And that is a critical asset. We have developed all that training that's going on for that youth. We need to retain some of those youth as adult leaders. This becomes the drain of assets that we have developed through all of the training that goes on in scouting. We've actually have this drain away of all of those great leadership skills. The adult leaders need to constantly be replenished. Over the years, they need to be replenished with new leadership. And you have youth that are just leaving and taking it with them. They can still give back to the unit. They gave them so much. That is the wonderful thing about scouting. It's kind of like paying it forward. And a troop needs an actual plan on how to retain those scouts. Age is a factor when you're dealing with youth. In Scouts BSA, once the youth turns 18, they are no longer a youth, they're an adult. And at that point, that is kind of the end of their scouting advancements and such. At that point, they are considered to be an adult. Now, in a troop, they still have to fill out an adult application and do the youth protection training and get a certificate to put with their application. So young adults are not exempt. Once they turn 18, they have to go through that process. Now, the adult application has to be endorsed and signed by the charter organization rep. That is a requirement for all adult applications. Then it goes through a background check. Now, these safeties are in place for all adults. The next big factor is recruitment. The Scoutmaster's team needs to find scouts that are showing incredible ability for leadership and recruit them and ask them. Literally ask them, would you like to become an assistant scoutmaster of this troop? That's a critical step. You have to ask. Being asked is very important. And at that point, that's where the coaching and the mentoring and all of that comes into play. And it's critical that that's set up long before the 18th birthday. So in that, they need to ask that scout to, while they're a scout, get the experience of being a senior patrol leader, the SPL of the troop. That's a critical experience that they need to have. That is a wonderful way for them to get that experience, plus after that experience becoming the assistant, what they call a junior assistant scoutmaster. that is a great next step. Now that should not be automatic. It's not like they are at SPL and after their term they become a junior assistant scout. It's only the junior assistant scoutmaster is really for the individuals that have been asked. That's the first part. Then they're recruited and they are mentored and coached towards being an assistant scoutmaster. The junior assistant scoutmaster position is a wonderful place for them to literally get a lot of that experience. Now, I know there's kind of an epidemic going on with Eagle Scouts. When Eagle Scouts, for some reason, they think when they get the Eagle, that's the exit. No, it's time to give back. The troops spent a lot of time, a lot of effort towards that individual achieving that goal, that lofty goal of being an Eagle Scout. Once they are an inspiration. They need to give back to the unit a little bit of service. And this would be a great thing, a great opportunity for them to jump into the junior assistant scoutmaster if that's what they want to do in the future. Now there is always individual scouts that have a natural leadership ability. They have that charisma that people want to follow. And that is one of those great natural things that most of the Scoutmaster team can actually identify scouts that are like that. And that is critical to have someone like that be recruited into being eventually an adult assistant scoutmaster. You want to kind of get that gradual process moving along. Now, before we go any further, I do want to invite you to our monthly meeting. It's on the first Sunday of each month, and it's at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So you're more than welcome to join us and ask questions and just have fun. You know, that's one of those wonderful things about that meeting. I also want to thank everybody on Patreon for their continued support of our channel. And our channel members. You can be a channel member. You hit the join button and join up. There's all kinds of badges and emojis and different things. They even get the videos exclusively for themselves, ad-free, which is an added bonus. And then, of course, if you don't want to join in and do a monthly donation, you could always do a one-time donation by hitting the thanks button. So get involved. I really do appreciate all that you do in scouting and here on the channel. The next big step is follow through. This is critical for the scouts' benefit and the troops' benefit. So making sure that the process is done is incredibly important. By the time the scout becomes 17, it's important to have them already selected and committed and make them a junior assistant scoutmaster, a JAS, J-A-S. Now they need at least 2 assistant scoutmasters to do the mentoring and coaching as a JSF. Now I know that's a lot of extra work, but if you split it up between 2 adults working together, then they can actually help this youth really start to learn some of the stuff behind the actual assistant scoutmaster role, and that's very important. Now 6 months before the scout's 18th birthday, it's important that they set up an account, an individual account on myscouting.org and have all that stuff set up so that when they do become an adult leader, it's there. And they can even do the youth protection training online. That they can do in their name. So that is something that needs to be set up 6 months before. You want to make sure that all of these things are in place so that there is no hiccup as far as their membership. Now, 2 weeks before their 18th birthday, they need to fill out the application, the adult application, and make sure that their certificate is with it. You got to do it 2 weeks ahead of time so that the signatures can get done and the processing can get done and all that stuff. It's okay if there's a lapse, okay, because the youth membership ends on their birthday. The adult one can go on. You can have a gap in between. That's fine. It's not good for the youth to do that while they're a youth because they have advancement, and that messes up that timing in their advancement. With adults, there's none of these, trying to get merit badges by 18. They don't have any of that. So it is okay to be a gap in between. But we don't want that to go on for too long. We want the scout has a commitment. We want to make sure they can fulfill that commitment. And it may take time to get the application rolling. Okay? You wouldn't submit it until after the 18th birthday. That's the thing. You need to get that process rolling. Now, in regards to membership fees, there are different fees for the adults versus the youth. Typically, the youth have most of the insurance, most of the apparatus is there for them, whereas the adult leadership, it's not as intense. Therefore, it doesn't cost as much. So typically, it's a little bit lower in price as far as membership fees. But if you have a youth that is going along and they've actually, they're a youth, and in the middle of the summer, this is their 18th birthday. Well, they've paid for the whole year, okay, from whatever time they signed up. That's the year, okay. So if they in the middle of the summer they changed and become 18, they can still use that youth membership. Okay, that membership fee is good until that expires. To renew that, of course, would be as an adult after 18. So there isn't a issue as far as that's concerned. Now, some units will actually set it up so that there's fundraisers and stuff that will actually help pay the fees for the adults, whether it be taking the adults to camp or paying for their membership or what have you. So there are units that do that. There are many units that have outreach programs within the unit. So sizable units might have funding that's been reserved through the treasurer of the unit that's being reserved to help subsidize or help pay for some of the things for needy scouts. This is also true for scout leaders. It's important that we pay it forward, not only in leadership, but in money. So that's one of the things about membership. And we do pay it forward. We do a lot of stuff for our scouts. But there's one thing that we keep dropping the ball on, and that is letting go of these incredible leaders. We need to hone that as an adult leader so that they can actually focus it better. Put what they've been taught into action. That is so critical. And we do those kinds of things in scouting. So we help youth achieve more than they ever thought they could. And that's one of those wonderful things in scouting. And I'm so grateful that you're a part of it. So keep up that good, hard work. Keep learning about all the different facets of scouting. There's so many. So definitely look into a lot of the stuff, especially on this channel. We got a lot of videos. Definitely check it all out. And I am so grateful for you and what you do for scouting. I am so proud of you. Keep up that good hard work, and I hope to see you on the trail.